Hey y'all, it's me Amanda, and I just wanted to let you guys know the books I read in November. Um, who knows when you're actually going to see this video, because right now I am very behind schedule when it comes to posting, so whoops. Um, you'll eventually see this. Hopefully I'll eventually get caught up. I'll have to probably start posting things once a week until I catch up. Alright, let's go ahead and get right into the books. I read 6 books, 7 if you count a book that I finished right at the end of October. I don't believe this one made it into the last video, so for safety's sake, the first one I have is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. So, this one centers around a young lady who is capable of performing miracles. She can do magic, and it's really cool, the magic she does. I really liked the style of it, where she has these like little folk sayings, and the magic, she can do things like make a bucket of water a little bit lighter so it's easier for her to carry it. She can make more of something, but small things, not things like money. And she can do all of these cool little miracles, and eventually the lady who employs her notices, and she gets drawn up into this whole plot to have her become the king's official magician, which is not necessarily what she actually wants, but there's not much choice for her in this. She also is ambitious, so, and she ends up getting kind of like a patronage from this guy who has under his employ a guy called the Scorpion, and there's a romance with this guy. He's kind of an unusual romance interest in terms of his physical description, but yeah, that's the basic idea. So she's in this competition to try to beat out 3 other magicians. This one took me longer to read than it should have. It wasn't the book's fault. I've just still been having trouble actually, like, reading to the extent that I really want to. I'll talk about that more in another video probably. But anyway, so this one, all in all, thoroughly enjoyable though. I was engaged the whole time with the plot. It was interesting. I liked the romance, didn't love this romance, but it was good enough for me. I really liked the main character. I enjoyed how she was sensible, but she was also ambitious, which is a little bit of a negative thing for her, but all in all, still entertained by it. And, I didn't blame her for wanting to be in a better situation than she had been, because it was pretty crappy. I also thought that the lady who employed her was a really interesting character. She's not nice, she's kind of cruel, but I felt like she gave me Portia Featherington vibes, where I think she did start to realize and become more aware of the way she was treating her. And she was this great morally gray character. Really liked her. I love me morally gray lady, okay? Entertaining as all get go. Um, the love interest was interesting. He wasn't really my type, but like I liked how it all unfolded and whatnot. So I gave this one 4.25 stars. Definitely recommend. Thoroughly enjoyable. A great fantasy read. Actually, the next one I read was an audiobook, The Stand-In by Lily Chu. Now, I read another book by Lily Chu. I believe it's The Comeback. I have to say, Lily Chu is good. It's good. I recommend her. I'm just, so far, 2 out of 2. She really does a great job of painting the portrait of these characters. And yeah, I'll be honest, there's certain similarities between the 2 of them. Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I didn't even tell you the plot. So this one involves a young lady who, her father's white, her mother is, I think, oh God, I should remember. I think she's Chinese. I'm sorry for not remembering. And she's Canadian, one day finds out that there's this big movie star who looks just like her. They look incredibly similar. So the movie star has been really burnt out. She's been having a hard time with her job, and she's like, hey, can you pose and pretend to be me so I can get some time off because I'm exhausted? And she offers to pay her a lot of money to do this. This is convenient for our heroine because she is in a situation where she's trying to get her mom into a really good nursing home, but she can't afford it. It's really hard for her to afford. And she's just lost her job because of one of the guys she worked with. I think he might have been her boss, or he's a guy she worked with, was sexually harassing her, and he ends up firing her because obviously she's not going for his creepy, nasty advances. So anyway, she's in a rough spot, and she's like, well, I really do need that money. So she decides to go along with this. In the meantime, the actress she's impersonating, she has a best friend who, of course, is a really hot movie star guy. He's really unhappy with this. He thinks it's a terrible idea, and guess what? They don't like each other at first, but then they start to like each other. No way. Anyway. Okay, so definitely similar vibes to The Comeback because we've got the fame and whatnot as a factor, and but the overall the characters are definitely different, and like in terms of their personalities, for sure they're very different. But what I think that Lily Chu does, and I think that this is impressive, she's really, really good at actually creating real bonds between the love interests, like the main gal and the love interest. She's good at this, and like she does a good job of making it so that like they actually know each other, they actually get each other, they really have real bonds. They're people who are having real conversations, they're doing things together. It's not just lusty the whole time. This one is closed door, as well as the other one I mentioned, The Comeback. Just as a heads up, so no one's surprised. But honestly, it's fantastic. I really, really do recommend it. I think Lily Chu, so far, I've been really happy with both books that I've listened to. These books are also, if you have an Audible subscription, you can get these for free with the Audible subscription. They don't cost any credits. So definitely check it out if you're into romance. And again, this one also I think wasn't rated that highly, which is ridiculous because it was really good. Like, you know? But I think it's people are like listening to it who just aren't into romance or something. I gave it 4.5 stars. Okay. The next book I read was one of my Book of the Month books, The Book of Witching by C.J. Cook. This one's kind of, I got this one for spooky season, read it a little bit after spooky season. Honestly, a lot of the books I have coming up are all kind of spooky related-ish, but I read them in November instead because I'm behind, apparently. So anyway, this one is basically about, we have a character who is accused of being a witch in the past, and it explains the unfortunate circumstances that get her accused of being a witch and what's going to happen to her. And then in the present, there's a mother whose daughter has been in a terrible accident and she's been burned. She finds out her daughter's boyfriend has died, and she's trying to figure out what exactly actually happened and caused this accident. This one has some like a little bit of magic and like whatnot in it. It's not really spooky at all, though. I wouldn't call this a spooky book. It's more about the mystery of trying to unfurl what's going on, and also reading the account from the past, which is extremely frustrating because you're just like, it's just like bad circumstance after bad circumstance for that lady. Heads up. But this one was all right. It was fine. It didn't take me too long to read. It just wasn't. it wasn't anything super special to me. It was fine. It's perfectly readable, but it's not anything super special. I gave it like, what did I give it? 3.5 stars. Pretty good, but nothing like amazing. That said, you know, if you're really into witchy stuff, you might like it, but it's fine. The next book I read was Butcher and Black. As you can see, you might notice I am catching up on my book of the month books. Or that's part of what I was doing. It's trying to get at least 15 read for the challenge, right? So anyway, next one, Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. If you're into romance, you probably have heard of this book, but if you're not, this one is a romance between two serial killers. They're two serial killers that go after other serial killers. They're like both Dexter, two Dexters going for each other, but it's a lady and a man. Now, this one, heads up ahead of time. They have trigger warnings. There are trigger warnings in the beginning of the book. You might want to check it out if you're squeamish. It's not too graphic, in my opinion, but it's dirty. This book is dirty, okay? Like, if you're into smut, ooh, this is a spicy one. I think Book of the Month made like a new level of spice category for this one, so yeah, it's spicy. I mean, I might have read spicier, to be honest, but that's because I'm a pervert. I don't know. Yeah, overall, entertaining. It's fun. Um, if you're into true crime and you're a little morbid like that, you'd probably like this one. And you're looking for a spicy romance, here you go. This is it. I didn't love it though. It's not that it was bad or anything. It wasn't, I think people had hyped it up a little too much. That said, I did enjoy some of the references in this. They reference another smutty book that I've read, the one with the Dragon Man, which is hilarious. Like, what are the chances that that would be mentioned in another book? I had a great moment with a friend that we both read that book. It was great to share that. So anyway, all in all, if you're into romance and you're a little on the darker side and you want something really spicy, I'd recommend it. I give it 3.75 stars, so 3.75. I know that's a little specific. I didn't feel it was quite 4-star worthy, but I was like, it doesn't deserve like a regular 3 stars or even 3.5. So that's what those ratings are for, thanks to Storygraph. Next, I read The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. So this one is about a lady who, and she's fairly young. I think she's in her like mid-20s, but she is an assistant teacher in a kindergarten classroom, and there's a little boy that she wants to adopt. His parents unfortunately died tragically, drug overdose, and he has been hopping from different foster homes, and she loves him very much and wants to adopt him, but she cannot afford to. She's young and poor, and she just doesn't have a stable enough financial situation to be able to adopt him, which is really sad. And it's very sweet, and like, it got me, right? Well, there's a series of books that they enjoy reading together. And the author of this series, he stopped writing. Not officially retired, but he stopped writing. And then he decides he's going to write one more book. And this book, and this book has the potential to be worth a lot of money. And he decides he's going to have a contest on the island he owns, because he owns his own island. And whoever wins gets the book, and they can publish it, and it will likely give them lots and lots of money, okay? And so he picks certain they're now adults, that he interacted with over time, and it goes from there. And yeah, this one's very heartwarming. It's very enjoyable. It has like because it's a competition. It's if you're someone who likes like riddles and whatnot that you try to figure out with the characters, this has it. It's very I just thought it was so sweet. I really enjoyed it. And there's a cute romance in it, and it's got a lot going for it. I definitely recommend it. 4.5 stars. Oh, this was also, I think, yeah, this was my last challenge book. Yeah. Oh my god, I forget who recommended it. I feel so bad. I need to go and check. I'll try to put their name up here. But somebody recommend this was my last 12 and 12 challenge book. I completed the challenge. I completed it in November, in fact. So good for me. This was a good recommendation, and yeah, I I recommend it for other people as well. Okay, the last two I have were both Kindle books. First, I read. Sorry, I'm terrible. Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. And I don't know if you noticed, I've stopped bothering trying to remember characters' names because I can't remember their names anymore. But anyway, in this one, we have a gal who's from Texas who is now living in Scotland. I believe it's Scotland. And she works for an animation studio. Her husband passed away, I think it was like 2 years ago, and she just didn't want to stay where she was living anymore. And meanwhile, she is neighbors with like a funeral home. And the guy there is a mortician, and she accidentally gets one of his packages. She brings it over to him, and it's a guy. Is his name Caleb? His name might be Caleb. I might actually remember one of the names. And he's like kind of gruff and grumpy, but can you guess? He has a heart of gold. And they strike up a friendship. She is unwilling to actually date him because she's just not, she doesn't know if she's going to be staying there, and anyway, he's in a situation where he needs to get married in order to keep his business, the mortician business. I don't know. You'd think that this would be a plot where the two characters decide to do a marriage convenience, but that's not where this goes. In fact, I don't really entirely get the point of why there was the whole marriage plot anyway, but we're going to let that go. There were a lot of things I liked about this one. I really liked that. I liked the main male character a lot. He is very one of the things that's very interesting about him is he's demisexual, so he doesn't really feel attraction to people unless he gets to know them. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was something really unique, and I'm pretty sure that's why I originally decided to read this. I think I saw it as a recommendation somewhere, and I really liked that about him. She, on the other hand, I wasn't crazy about her. I found her a little. She was kind of annoying. She's very pushy, and yeah, like I said, I found her kind of annoying. Yeah, she's just not very like emotionally intelligent, I guess you could say. She lacks that big time. But anyway, it was still a cute romance. This one is steamy for sure. It's spicy. Don't, if you're not into that, just heads up. But as a whole, I found it cute, and I gave it 3.75 stars. And then the last thing I read in the month of November was I Hated You First by Rachel John. I got this one for really cheap at some point during one of those Kindle sales. It's a contemporary romance novel. Now, this one is all right, the girl works for her dad with her half brother as well. And the guy is the half brother's best friend, and he's been in love with her, but she doesn't like him. And they hate each other, but he's been in love with her this whole time. So This one was fine. This is like the definition of a typical romance. It is clean, as a heads up, which is fine. Yeah, I think I would even call it, I would call it clean versus closed door, because there's no like fade to black or anything. There's just never any implication of anything dirty whatsoever. So clean. And it's basically, most of the book is her struggling with her father and his expectations and whatnot. Yeah, this one was fine. It wasn't super boring, but it's short, but just wasn't a whole lot keeping me going on this one. I wasn't intrigued by either character. I thought they were both pretty flat. I wasn't super invested in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, one of the weird complaints I have about this is there's a lot of characters in it, and they all are kind of flat and personality wise, and then there's just all these names and they keep popping up, and I was like, who the hell was that again? There's too many characters, in my opinion. I think this really would have benefited. You either need to have less characters, or like they needed to have stronger, more obvious personalities, because like I just was constantly like, wait, who's this, who's that? For the side characters, it was really hard to remember like any of them. So I gave it 3 stars. This is the definition of a 3-star book. It wasn't bad, wasn't great, it was fine. Anyway, that's it. Those are all the books I read in November. You'll see me hopefully in the new year with what I read in January, and I might do some like summary videos. We'll see. We'll see. It's already mid-December at this point, and I am just really behind schedule on everything. It's December, so if you could get like a Christmas tree or a Christmas wreath or something emoji, that would be lovely if you made it to the end. Now, that said, I understand. Just know that this is probably not going to get posted until the new year anyway, because I am way behind schedule. Hope you're all doing well.